All right, this is the weekend show, and I want to talk a little bit about how to recognize a bad argument when someone's making one, specifically this concept. And you hear it all the time of a slippery slope. Someone is arguing against something and they say, oh, it's a slippery slope. As soon as we start doing this, then it's going to open the door to all these horrible things we don't like. And we'll just slide down the slope until we end up in some place that nobody wants. So don't go in that direction. It's a slippery slope. This is a weak and insubstantial argument because the person making it knows I don't really have enough to say about my actual position. So I'm going to rope in all these other things that are bad, and if you associate them together, well, then you'll agree with me. This is bad. They do this with a lot of things. Gay rights is a great one because if we start letting people marry the same sex, then we're going to go down a path where people will marry in groups, and then people will marry animals and inanimate objects. Do you want somebody to marry a table? I don't want somebody to marry a table. Slippery slope, like the wise man is enlightening you to the danger that you didn't see. Whenever you hear someone invoke this insidious slope, just say, well, here's a person with a weak argument. It can't stand on its own unless they create a piece of fiction where people will start doing all sorts of horrible things. I think that if something is wrong per se, and that means by itself or intrinsically, then those are the things that we should avoid. And if it's not wrong per se, then it should be allowed. And you can use this bad rhetorical device about anything, which pretty much shows its intrinsic weakness. You can object to prayer or hunting or boxing. You can say that we can't let people eat in restaurants because then they will slide down the slope and they'll forget how to make food. Anything can be twisted into some crazy and hideous extreme. And you know what? Maybe it does get us a little bit closer. I mean, if somebody out there wants to marry a horse, they will probably consider gay marriage to be a small victory on that front, on that long road to the day when they can eventually marry a horse. But that is not the fault of same-sex couples. There's no reason that they should have to suffer as second-class citizens for that crazy and stupid fear. We can do anything we want in this society. We can make the rules, and we can make them specific enough that nobody doing reasonable and harmless activity needs to give it up because it reminds people of crazy and weird stuff that nobody wants. So when you're talking about drug policy, or aid to the needy, or here's a good one, stem cell research, or really anything, and somebody whips out the old slippery slope, do me a favor and crush them and their weak-ass argument. You take that slope and you just landscape it flat. You create a boundary where the boundary actually belongs. And the nice way to do it goes, so what safeguards do you think we can put in place to prevent the good thing from becoming the bad thing? I'm not saying that will work when you're arguing with somebody. I'm just saying that's the nice way to do it. Anyone using a bait and switch argument, a misdirection, guilt by association about any subject in the world, regardless of their general philosophy, that means that they've got nothing and they're waiting to get served. See you Monday.